Dude, why did that feel like a church?
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like, oh, it's so solemn and kind of
It
like.
was too like that's like a restream like stock thing. It was like too.
So
It
it
felt too
probably
like
is like.
calm. It was like
it,
there's way too much.
it works. I mean, a lot of churches do freaking streaming, so it makes sense that they'd have something kind of stock like that.
Yeah, yeah. How's your Monday? How's your Monday going?
It's going well, man. Let's see. I freaking got up super freaking early to take a flight
Yeah, I
over
know.
here
I
today.
saw with the
Um,
notice you were time zone hopping a little bit.
yeah. You saw. I was like asking you to change the title of this thing, like at freaking like
That's
3 in the
right.
morning or something.
Welcome to INN Church, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Now is the time to pray. Church of uh, the Church of the Holy Matrimony of Liberty. But
Something like that.
what does that mean, Colin? What does Christian mean?
Let's
Jesus.
see.
Okay.
Where are we?
Um.
Church of the Holy Crab. Yeah.
Yeah. So, welcome to the alternative angle. I think this is becoming a fun thing to do on Monday nights here at INN on 9:30. Tonight we got some topics to run down for you. I think Chris here is going to talk a little bit more about the Nashville shooting. Uh, Let me bring this up
Yeah,
here.
definitely. Think there's some stuff that people have kind of missed, and kind of people are focusing on stuff that isn't really that important. So I kind of want to look at it from a different angle, but
Yeah,
um,
so I'm bringing in these two tonight. We'll get to the burner. Which one do you feel like getting through first? Because um, I think because like the Doug Mackey thing's like sort of old
it's
a
quick.
little bit now, like technically like a week almost.
So I
But
mean,
it's
if you want to
important.
just touch,
There's some documentation in there that like um, there's specific wording I want to go through that is concerning. That I'm just that I would want to ask questions on. But what do you
I mean,
feel?
whatever. I just know that like I mean, you kind of saw the notes that I had for the Nashville thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
got it open.
I could spend some time on it. So like, if you want me to close out with the Nashville stuff, I could see that taking at least an hour or so. So
Okay.
um, whatever
Yeah, no,
whatever
I
you
can
want.
I can run through the AOC thing pretty quickly. So, all right. So Douglas
Yeah,
Mack,
burner exactly.
um, some
Oh
if
no,
you
what's
were
funny is
around,
my girlfriend said that she knew Douglas Mackey,
like
like
personally.
that, like they went to school together or something like that.
No way, really.
If it's the same person, if it's not like just the same name, but she said it went to like their high school or her high school or something like that. So
It's it, it's incredible that what this guy was able to accomplish in the time. I mean, he is like the prophetic memester of 2016. If
so
you were on Twitter back in the day.
yeah, so like I didn't start using, like I recognized that like black and white photo with the MAGA hat, but
Yeah,
like
me too.
I didn't start using Twitter until around 2020 or so. So I don't have that context of when he was doing all the like meme lording. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get into it.
Um,
Let's
so
see.
the Biden DOJ is essentially going after some rando in Florida over literally memes. It's now
Literally
illegal.
memes.
It's illegal. No, they have like specific. They call it like deceptive imagery, and I'll get to that in like the court hearings. But he had a talent for making Hillary Clinton look foolish by eviscerating journalists. In 2018, he was doxxed and afterwards went out to go live a quiet life in Florida, away from the spotlight. But the incestuous trifecta of academics, journalists, and government officials that make up the deep state hadn't forgotten him. And in 2021, which is like 3 years later, As soon as Biden takes office, then he gets charged with the election interference and is arrested by the FBI. So they're sitting on this case for 3 years.
They were just waiting.
Trump with this Russiagate shit, and then he's accused of the crime of memes. This is not even. This should be parody, but it's not parody. And there's even similar things that, like Clinton supporters did. That basically it was
country, who's boss, and that's our man Donald Trump. So don't forget
Yeah,
to
there
vote
was.
Donald Trump on November 9th.
the idea was basically to like.
Oh yeah, that was the one they told him to vote like a day later, right?
Yeah,
Like-
well, it was like in order to like trick like boomer voters who didn't know any better, like thought that they could just like text a random number and be like vote for
Yeah,
Hillary.
I was seeing those too. Yeah, text, and it counts as a vote, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah.
it's absurd. It's absurd that that's a freaking. You can now go to court and jail for that.
So what they're getting him with is a 100-year-old law written to prosecute the KKK for violence that has never been extended before to speech, which is really chilling. Here, let me.
Wait. So it's never literally this statute has never been used before Mackey.
Yeah.
So the guy who made memes,
So
they
this
pull
is
out a freaking
like
100-year-old KKK.
this is why I did want to ask you. So like this is the official complaint that was brought over to like by the DOJ, by this FBI agent Megan Reese being duly sworn, and I just want to highlight a little bit some of the language here because it's both funny and it's a little bit concerning.
More concerning.
Yeah. So I am a special agent of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I've been so for 3 years. Participate in surveillance, witness interviews. In about 2016, Mackey, working with other individuals described in greater detail below, made coordinated use of social media to spread disinformation relevant to the impeding 2016 presidential election.
It's a lot of words to say he was trolling.
And then look at this. The disinformation spread by these individuals often took the form of memes. And they source that. They source it. They have to source memes.
They literally show pictures of memes that you use.
Is it so? Are memes illegal? Like is it like this is?
Well, and that's like the thing is like disinformation spread by individuals often took the form of memes. So memes in and of themselves, like they're kind of a parody in themselves. Like you're not like you can take them seriously because they're like reflection of our culture, but at the same time they're supposed to be a parody. I thought it was like inherent that memes were kind of a parody and making a joke of something that we experience every day, and that's why everybody can kind of relate to it.
And I just want to share real quick. There's nothing more funnier than the opening statements on last week. Stealing the right to vote or shit posting. Douglas Mackey, the man who behind the alt-right Ricky Vaughn Twitter account, was just shit posting the meme that landed the federal indictment for election interference, his lawyer told a federal jury on Monday. Whether he was a great thinker or Neanderthal caveman, none of it was a criminal conspiracy to defraud voters. Which I'm also
come on, so
opinion.
Ridiculous. So basically, the precedent here is if I create a meme and tell everybody to vote like November 9th or November 10th or something, that could be a crime.
Yeah, memes are illegal now. Memes are now officially like.
Well, hold on. What does it say? What does it say specifically? Make coordinated use of social media spread disinformation relative to. Let's be more specific about it.
Let me continue because like they use some other more like wording that is and they have to use a Merriam-Webster dictionary in order to quote describe what the term meme is.
According to the dictionary, because we're fucking stupid.
So here they go through. They go through all three of his accounts.
They actually have. Are these
This
the
one, he wasn't
references?
even memeing on the last one. He was just like using that just to. I don't know. It was this
Wow.
one, the last one.
Wow.
But
That's funny. They don't have like they just have the
and
number. They
of
don't
course
have the actual
they got
picture.
him on the Gab too.
Were you able to pull up the pictures, the actual tweets that they're incriminating him with?
Yeah. So they're in a little bit on.
Okay. I'm not trying to get you ahead. Oh,
No, no,
so they
no, no,
use
no.
Gab too, which is like a right wing platform, sort of.
I know this shows a couple of the. Does it? I thought it did.
That's crazy. Well, it had the numbers in the affidavit or
Well, this is an
whatever.
example of one of them. Like this is like one of the memes that he made. It was like, avoid the line, vote from home, text Hillary.
See, okay, and
599.
I think this kind of speaks like I know we're trying to get into this but this speaks to a bigger issue where like the establishment just wants to take away your ability to think for yourself and think critically. Like, oh, it's dangerous that somebody was like made a shit post. Like, no, like it's not. I don't see why it's somebody else's fault that like people are too stupid to know when you can and can't vote and looked at a freaking meme and we're like, oh, that's right. Yeah, I believe that. Like it looks sort of official, but come on, like it's not. I don't. It's just ridiculous. Like they're punishing this guy because people are too stupid, or they're just trying to make an example out of him.
No, they're trying to make an example out of him, 100%. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not even just Mackie. They went through all of his group DMs. They got everything on him, and now there's co-conspirator meme
Come
as well.
on, dude.
So these various individuals, known and unknown, including Mackey, collaborated to create and discriminate false information regarding the manner in which citizens could and should vote.
So the main complaint is not that they were just making disinformation memes, but that that's election interference.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
And there's hold on, there is like a little bit more
Ridiculous.
wording.
Man, how much cope is Hillary going through where she has to throw a guy who's just making stupid memes under the bus because he may have duped like a few hundred people?
It was a lot more than that. I'll show you.
Oh,
I'm,
so they
I'm
were
looking.
wow,
I
they
read.
actually
I went through this whole thing.
they
I'm trying
actually
to
were
find
able to
it.
quantify how many people were misinformed by it and
Yeah, they
acting on
were
that
able.
misinformation.
They tracked how many people were. See, like they participated in numerous group DMs. So if you just share memes in your group DMs, that's considered election
Yeah,
interference.
and now everybody in your DM is a co-conspirator.
Now, yeah. So if you make a meme and you share it with your friends in a group DM, and then they share it to other people,
Oh my
then you're
god.
considered a domestic terrorist threat.
Yeah. Now you're
Basically,
committing election interference.
memes are now legal. Just making
This
that.
is crazy. This is crazy.
I love how they actually.
Yeah,
Mackie
it's
State is
actually
using Mackie account number one. It's actually a great meme to spend. They make all these shitlibs think their sick friends are secretly voting for candidate two. A participant in the group conversation, a Twitter user described it as.
I mean, like the thing is that like
Well, they got him on. I really like this idea, guys. They really like this meme idea, this co-conspirating meme idea.
unbelievable, dude. And this is what the Hillary campaign did in 2016.
Oh, there's more. There's more. I'll show you the direct connection to Clinton in a second. It's
Yeah, I'm
actually
like
kind of
this
strange.
is like correct the
And
record
I
all
want to
over again.
ask you, do you think now this is just the criminal complaint that they addressed to the DOJ, like
Mhm.
right before trial,
Right.
like right before they arrest him? I
Before
think.
they arrested him. Yeah.
Yeah. So is any of this like usable as precedence in the court of law to like charge other people? I mean, of course, right?
Well,
Like,
so he already got charged and found guilty, right? He's going to jail for like 6 years or
well,
something like
so no, so like they're basically they're it was basically like an open shut case, and I'll show you like
which just reeks of corruption.
if you go to courtlistener.com, you can see the whole like note, like the trial, like the notes, like everything that happened.
Oh, that's interesting.
So what happened was like they literally it was a 1 day trial. They went to trial for one day.
Show trial.
They had one witness, and they were going to be like, "That's it, wrapping it up." And then Doug's lawyer filed a motion to continue,
And they denied it.
and they're at rest right now. So like there's an order on motion to continue.
So it's obvious that it's just a freaking. They're trying to burn this guy
It's
and
just
freak
a
everybody
circus.
out.
They want to open and shut case it, and like I let me remind you. So this is the same judge that prosecuted that was for Epstein and the Mar-a-Lago search. It's the same exact, the same one
God.
that that was Jeffrey Epstein's lead attorney, Bruce
Right.
Weinhardt. This is the same guy going after memes now. This is like the next step.
That's crazy, man. That's insane. But yeah, like to answer your question as far as precedent, technically, if he's like found guilty and his appeal like fails, then like, I mean, I don't know, man. It's freaking memes. Like it says the takeaways I'm getting from this is like they're obviously like serious about elections. Like, don't be making memes during election season that are like presenting false information. That sounds like what it's really about. Now,
let me show
from
you
what
the
I
part
see so far, but you read more than this than I did, but it sounds like that's kind of where they're trying to dig their heels in about it. But yeah, it sounds like if they're basically charging somebody for posting memes, they'll find reasons. Like if they want to be partisan about it, and like we hate liberals probably as much as fucking Mackie did. If we were posting some anti-liberal freaking memes and it got like viral or something, yeah, it could be a liability, I guess. I would feel that way. If I made some like banger meme that got freaking like 10,000 freaking likes and it was like it had like misinformation in it, like I would be a little nervous. I'd probably delete it.
Yeah.
But
So
I think that's the point.
This is like the one of the more concerning parts, and I did want to ask you about this too.
Mm-hmm.
So, dissemination of disinformation about voting.
Oh, there you go.
Starting in about around September 2016, Mackey and his co-conspirators began discussing, designing, and circulating memes related to the time, place, and manner of voting. These memes, along other things, falsely claim that the supporters of the candidate would get asked to vote in the election by posting on Facebook or Twitter or sending via text message to a specified code, hereinafter described categorically as deceptive images.
What a crock of
What
shit.
the fuck is deceptive images?
Disinfo.
So any what does that mean? So like any deep fake or like any deceptive imagery is
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty vague. It could be deepfakes, huh? Like
what is hereinafter described categorically as deceptive images?
So okay, so the it's in quotes, deceptive images. That's just them.
They use it frequently. Look,
Well, yeah, but they use it on purpose. That's just them using a charged up phrase to try and get people like jurors to see, ooh, deceptive images. It doesn't have a legal it doesn't have any legal bearing because it's in quotes. It's just like we're referring to this
jury, right?
Yeah, they're just they're just using hot language to try and appeal to get like a favorable verdict. But really, if you want to scroll back up where like it showed it said disinformation or like dissemination of disinformation, that's like the concerning part. That's like the takeaway that I look at. That's what they're trying to focus on.
Yeah, no, this is all of like what they believe, what the FBI currently believes is a probable case. What page was it
It's just insane. Yeah. See, dissemination of disinformation about voting. So that's in bold. That's underlined. That's like the stuff that if I was like just shit posting around election season, I would look at that underlined crap, dissemination of disinformation about voting. That's what I would be freaked out about. Like, okay, so when election season comes around, I'm not going to tell people to go vote for freaking Ross Perot or something. I'm not going to tell people to vote for like Ralph Nader. Like, that's like the takeaway I get from that. They're really concerned.
It's just so vague that they like. It just goes to show how bad they want this guy.
And it's definitely has some vague language in it on purpose so that they can come back to it and be like, oh, this guy had freaking a good meme that got a lot of traction that may have had, and it could be something true. Like I could totally see somebody posting something about Hillary doing Libya, and that could be like presented in court as disinformation based on how they spin it. This just seems like some crazy way to have some narrative control and keep people from speaking their mind through things like memes. That's sketchy, man. That's sketchy. No, they just wants people to stop memeing.
They have like specific stats, like when they get into like the later pages, when according to Twitter records, it retweeted approximately 175 times. Whoa, holy shit. Like it's like what is the problem exactly? You're gonna like lose like a couple like 100 boomers to this?
We know it's not really about that. They're just trying to, like, I think my takeaway, especially when you talk about stuff that I didn't know about before, like going through the DMs and that they're trying to create like co-conspirators. They're basically trying to prove that this was like a coordinated, basically like a troll farm sort of thing. So I think kind of like that's how I see it. It's like, oh, it's actually it's freaking, what's it called? It's racketeering, or like when it's like a coordinated from a large organization. They're trying to prove by using that kind of language that it's like a bunch of people were in on it. They're trying to prove that, oh, maybe one person was just posting memes and was like in their DM chats, they're just having a good time. Like, oh, you better be scared of doing that. Like, you shouldn't do that stuff. That's going to be a crime now. Seems to me they really like, they just want to find a way to make people think twice before sharing their opinion.
And let's be honest, like there was no way he actually influenced any sort of. So they're saying that at least 4,900 unique telephone numbers texted this for individuals located in the Eastern District of New York. That's so. How much of that funny? Like, how much of that is like a voter base, like, that's worth.
Well, and the other thing is like, okay, so this was like the 2016 election, right?
Yeah.
Is this 2016? So
yeah.
Hillary won by what, 3 million? She won the popular vote by 3 million. So it's not even relevant, right? Like the number of people who were idiots, it doesn't make a difference because Hillary won the popular vote anyway. That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Like, they're kind of trying to say that, like, it sounds to me that they're suggesting that 4,900 people would have swayed
like electorally in New York. What does that mean?
Where does it say that? Well, you said
no. I mean,
they were voting in New York, right? But I mean, I'm assuming it was regarding. It's about
that's
that.
What I'm assuming. It says some derivative text code on or before election day, including many individuals located in the Eastern District of New York. Oh no, maybe like that's what, like, where he's saying like the phone numbers were like located to, because he was living in New York.
Yeah, like what I'm inferring from that is that Mackey was in New York, and where he sent the message or used a VPN to send the message in New York, so that it attracted people in that area because that's how the algorithm works. And yeah, I guess there were 4,900 idiots, but like, that wouldn't have swayed the election, So what? Like, we can be punished now because people are stupid. Like, now we're held criminally liable because people listen to our stupid shit posts?
Because of boomers. Yeah.
I mean, well, it doesn't even say boomers. It doesn't even say boomers. It
No,
doesn't have a demographic. So I mean, I think that's a fair assumption, to be honest, you know, like old people not paying attention. Like, but like it just doesn't 4,900, like big deal. This is just a smear to shut people up. They just want people. It's not like it's such a vague and clearly partisan attack on somebody who was just posting memes that I think they want people like me and you, all of our friends, you know, whoever, people who are politically conscious and interact on Twitter. All they want us to do now is when we come up with an idea for a banger, they're like, maybe I shouldn't do that because I don't want to go to jail. That's all I think it's really about, is they want people to like self-censor themselves. I mean,
just like we're being like paranoid, like quiet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like people thinking twice about posting a funny meme because they don't want to go to jail.
So for anyone just hopping in here and just catching up, basically the way that this trial went was the FBI had one witness, they ran one witness in, and there was a motion to continue, and then here, March 3rd, Andrew Fitch counsel of defendant Douglas Maggie, president on bond, case called, witness sworn and testified, exhibits marched in the government rests. They're done. That's it. They bring in one witness, and they're like, okay, that's everything.
Yeah. That's my case.
And so obviously Doug's lawyer went ahead and called out, said that was bullshit.
That's insane.
Andrew Frisch lawyer. So this is basically the letter to the court, and it's supposed to continue from here. There was an order motion to continue. I'm not a lawyer, so don't listen to whatever the fuck I say.
But I mean, like, I just get the impression that, like, it just seems like this isn't really a court case that's like really judicial at all. That it's just completely.
Oh, like, look, it's not being
co-opted
at all. No.
Yeah, like it's whoever's, like you said, this judge. Maybe he's working with the DNC. Maybe he's working with the Clintons. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to like suggest anything, but it just seems like it's an obviously partisan attack against people who don't support the establishment. Because it sounds like this lawyer, Mackey's lawyer, is doing everything he's supposed to do, but it sounds to me Mackey's going to end up in jail if they can bring in one witness and then be like, oh, we're done. Like, it's clear that this is a show trial, right?
They already tried. Yeah, no, they already tried to. They just want to get this open shut across their arms.
Yeah,
be done with it.
Have that precedent.
Honestly, I don't think they don't want many people knowing about this, and I don't think they want many people. But this also stuck out to me, and it's a good thing that you mentioned Clinton. Because he says, I write on behalf of the Douglas Mackey to provide the court with an update to flag a few issues. And this is Doug's lawyer's complaint to the court. Number one, Mr. Mackey will not be calling FBI Special Agent Reeves and is prepared to arrest this morning. Regarding the government's interview reports from the Clinton campaign. What the fuck? So is this just like a direct, like, complaint from the Clinton campaign? Like, so
regarding the government's
who was defrauded here exactly? Was it the voters, or was it just the Clintons being like, oh, this guy was being problematic, so we gotta bust him?
It's like, you remember during 2016 Hillary had that correct the record thing, right?
Yeah,
she had. So did you, like, I used Reddit a lot during that time, okay? And what I found, why I mentioned Clinton so like obvious, was because they were the like correct the record trolls were like just putting out misinformation and disinformation nonstop, getting people censored, getting people freaking suspended, getting people's accounts taken down on Reddit for like a year and a half, like nonstop, just completely ruthless. So it sounds to me that like Mackey had something clever, a little bit too clever for himself, and Clinton was like, we can have none of that. I mean, it's just, and Clinton's like tied to like Dominion and like that stuff, so it just wouldn't surprise me if she's kind of like involved in this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it reeks of like Clinton.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to lose with grace.
I proposed a stipulation about these interview reports, but the government did not respond. So they didn't even respond to him.
No.
And then with the court's permission, I will supplement my motion for a mistrial based on the Clinton interview reports with my papers in support of my motion pursuant of Rule 29 if the jury returns a verdict of guilty. If it aids the court, I hereby renew my motion. So the jury still has to rule on it, but like they basically just want to be done. And they want to strike the word Muslim from GX, whatever this is. Order of Judge.
Yeah.
But this is incredible. This is so.
So he's basically going to call for a mistrial after Mackey's found guilty.
Essentially, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's the plan. And
I mean, do you think that there's any chance that Mackey is not going to be found guilty? I just get the impression that this was like set up.
I don't think enough people know about this, and like, I mean, you'll see like there's like a Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet about him, but like there's like people who like call for his freedom, and like in a sense he is like a political prisoner, and regardless he is just like a notorious memer. It doesn't
crazy, dude.
Make him
it's crazy
any sort of like partisan. I know it's insane. Memes are now illegal, guys.
They're just. I mean, it seems to me that
illegal.
Something like this is to kind of try and further censor people in ways that they can't just have like the Fed and the CIA, how we've seen with like the Twitter files and all that stuff, how they can't just be like censor this guy. They now want to establish precedent for different content that people are posting. So
yeah, and they're using, notice like how they define specifically the word memes and like deceptive imagery in order. I mean, it's not only like to hype up the jurors, but it's also to like define these vague terms in order to like disinformation, like and like Russian propaganda, like things that like
ridiculous.
Sound scary on its face, but like are so nuanced that you can't really.
Yeah, because the average person, if they do come across this case, they're just going to see deceptive images and they'd be like, "Oh, this guy had it coming. This guy like shouldn't have lied like that. He cost these people their right to vote. He deprived people of their right to vote. He should be charged criminally for it." Like I can see plenty of boomers, people like my dad or somebody saying something like that and like being cool with this.
Yeah.
That's nuts though. So what's that motion by his lawyer was just filed today or yesterday?
Like a couple days ago.
Okay.
4 or 5 days ago.
So when's the next? Where are they going to be like? When's the jury? Do you know when the because if the government's done, then the jury just has to deliberate, right? So essentially, the judge is going to like deny whatever Mackey's lawyer is asking for, and then the jury's going to deliberate. They're probably going to find him guilty, and then there's going to be a mistrial. So this is probably going to wrap up within the next few days, huh? Maybe the next week or so.
I mean, definitely I would give it a couple weeks.
Okay.
100%. But it's basically done. They basically wanted it to be open and shut. This is the very, very last thing that's happened to.
And that's that letter.
Order of sustenance, yeah. Jury notes to Douglas Mackey, yeah.
Okay. Jury verdict. Guilty. Okay, so he was already found guilty. So that means that Mackey's lawyer already filed for a mistrial and probably got denied.
I'm not sure if that's the case 100%. Yeah, wait.
Well, that was, yeah. But if he was already found guilty, so he'll file. If the mistrial gets denied, they'll file an appeal.
Listen, neither of us are lawyers. I don't think any of us are qualified to like.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, so like, I have no idea how any of this shit works, but like, I'm just reading and watching.
It's freaking crazy, man.
Like Rakita Law or some shit like that. Like,
it's freaking crazy.
But so he is found guilty. I mean, a lot of articles I was reading like saying that it's like still like kind of like up in the air because like I think like just because like a jury reaches a verdict doesn't mean like that necessarily like that's like the final verdict. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I mean,
because like
it's supposed
to. He has to file a motion of mistrial, which I think is basically the intention because he said it in that letter,
right?
Saying like if there's if the jury comes back with a verdict of guilty, we're gonna file a motion of mistrial. Because it is ridiculous. It's actually like it's
it's a total like it's just partisan, not obviously in the
no. It's worse because like they waited 3 years to book this guy.
Yeah, so they just
and it was as soon as Biden took office. So it's such an obvious political like scam that
why wouldn't they have done it during? You think they just wanted to like find a better time, I guess, with the statute of limitations, whatever that is, but they just like decided to bring it out now for like I don't know. It's weird to me.
Well, I mean, Trump was in possession. Trump had the power of the DOJ in the last 4 years, so I don't think that his
he wouldn't have done it.
Would have went after him.
He wouldn't have went. Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah, so like as soon as Biden's DOJ comes in.
Oh yeah, because it is the government. It's not. It's funny. I just think of Clinton, and I'm like, Clinton would have been part of the government. So
Clinton's basically the president right now. We could be honest about that.
I mean, I just look at her as kind of like an arm of the deep state.
Yeah, she is an arm. I mean, she has like far more power than like I think a lot of people realize. But like, she's is getting old and she's like kind of like fading away. It is just like one faction of them. You're right, but
very powerful faction.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to get on you don't want to get on Clinton's bad side.
Absolutely not. And you said you wanted to do Nashville last, right?
Up to you, man. If you want me to do it now, I'll do it now. It's just I got kind of a bunch to cover. Did you want to go through the AOC really quick?
Or
maybe hold off and
see. You do. You run the Nashville thing.
Okay. First. So as we all know, there was a shooting in Nashville allegedly last week. And I'm
I'm curious about this because like I'm still I can be convinced, but like what do you?
So I'm gonna basically go through all the footage that we've been given. Okay, so there's the footage of all the cameras and you'll see that there's some cameras that
give me a thesis statement.
So I just think that there's a lot of stuff that you can tell by omission that they're hiding stuff from us. And I think that warrants more questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm not trying to, there's obviously stuff that you've seen on Twitter, like, oh, like the shoes don't match, the camo's different, stuff like that. I'm not even going to bring that stuff up. I think there's other stuff that's more obvious that I'm just going to talk and let you guys decide for yourselves. But I just want to go through the footage that they gave us. Okay. Go through some interviews and just kind of give you my take on that stuff because it seems really freaking fishy to me. And like, I don't want to Alex Jones myself, but
yeah, I was going to say before we Alex Jones, like cancel ourselves here, let's just like definitively say here that this is up for the viewer's discretion.
Yeah. I'm not saying
we're not saying anything here.
I'm not saying it's like the events. Yeah. Let's just go through it.
I don't even think you're saying it's not like a Sandy Hook thing where like this shoot where like everything was set up. Like I don't think like it's not like that. It's like
I tell you
like
what,
narrative
let's
framing.
go through the footage. I just think
All right,
that the
all
footage,
right, let's go. Let's show
I
me.
just think that the footage has some interesting omissions and some interesting tidbits that are worth kind of paying attention to. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to go through these videos and kind of chronologically show you what was going through my head to try and see where I think there's missing pieces or where we should be asking for more transparency. So to first off, let me see. I'll bring up, I guess I'll share my screen.
Yeah, do you want me to pull it up or do you want?
I think I got it. Hold on. Let's see. Entire screen. Give me 1 second here. All right. Can you see this Nashville.gov?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the actual report from the police about what happened that day. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of go through it really quickly. The shooter, Audrey Hale, 28, who attended the school years ago, arrived on campus in her Honda Fit. She was heavily armed with 3 guns, 2 of them assault-type weapons, and as seen in the surveillance video, shot her way into the church school through doors on the side of the building. The first call to 911 about the shots being fired in the building came at 10:13 a.m. Remember that number, 10:13 a.m. Officers rushed to the campus, made entry, and began clearing the building. Shots were heard coming from the second level. It was on the second floor in a common area that a team of officers encountered Hale shooting. She had been firing through a window at arriving police cars. 2 members of an officer team fired on Hale and fatally wounded her. There is footage of that, and we'll kind of go into that. I would say like there might be a trigger warning, but it's like it doesn't. There's no blood or anything like that. It really doesn't. It looks like airsoft. Those 2 officers are Officer Rex Engelbert, a 4-year MMPD veteran, and Officer Michael Colazzo, a 9-year MMPD veteran. Writings recovered from Hale revealed that her attack was calculated and planned. We have not seen, there's allegedly a manifesto, like shocker. We've seen like these other guys had manifestos before. They said that they were going to release it. They originally said they weren't going to release the manifesto to the public. Then they did say, now I think we're probably going to get some either truncated version or we'll see it eventually. But I'm just going to throw out there my hypothesis with the manifesto is it's going to look almost identical to some of the other manifestos we've seen in the past, if not verbatim. A search warrant executed at Hale's Brightwood Avenue home resulted in the seizure of a sawed-off shotgun, a second shotgun, and other evidence. The investigation by several MMPD components with assistance from partners at the alphabet agencies is continuing.
Which I do want to say, like a manifesto, like usually in terms of like media wise, is like pretty much the most telling in terms of like motive. But
they can be, but I'd have to go do some more digging.
I don't want. I'm jumping ahead too.
No. It's good, but there was I forget what other shootings it was. It might have been the Highland shooting. It might have been this Uvalde. I think there was a manifesto with that one. But like these manifestos, there's been evidence where they look almost identical or identical to other manifestos from other shooters in the past, which is kind of bizarre.
Well, they're all groomed by the FBI, so I mean,
yeah, I mean, I would agree with that there's like definitely like the psyop kind of element to that. I think just the idea that they all happen to have manifestos is like weird to me.
Well, I mean, it is like a suicide note in a way.
Well, but okay, so and that's kind of a good place to transition because she did sort of like tell this person who we'll get into in a little bit here that she was like it was going to be her last day and that she was going to like do this stuff and she was probably going to be heard on the news. So she did actually reach out to somebody and kind of make a cry for help, whatever you want to call it. Suicide note in that way. But let's go. First thing I want to do is actually what I want to show is I'm just going to skim through the Uvalde shooting, the whole thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just want people to kind of remember like how jacked up the Uvalde shooting was. Okay. Can you see this Newsweek thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just going to kind of skip into it. So you see they're all in uniforms, kind of just like thumbs up their butts, not paying attention. Right. But like you remember this now. Like they literally were just Yeah, they were just standing around doing absolutely nothing. Okay, so now you got people in freaking military uniforms. But the takeaway here is they all have their thumbs up their butts. And remember, it took us 3 weeks or something to get this footage.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
this
like
was an egregious, act of mistrust.
incompetence. Yeah, it was bad. But
Incompetence. Yeah.
the two high things I wanted to highlight with just kind of showing this and kind of bringing that back in memory is that the Nashville PD came out with footage less than a day after the shooting. So it's important to consider that contrast. The other important thing to consider, I think, with this is that the Nashville PD seemed to be looking more professional in the footage that they released to us, right? It's not just people standing around with their thumbs up their butts. So that's kind of the takeaway. I just want people to kind of keep that contrast in mind. So
let me push a little bit. What if I
okay.
Because I think in terms of the Uvalde shooting, the police department was fairly embarrassed by what they were by that video. I mean, they didn't want this video to come out. In fact, they tried everything they could to hide it.
Exactly. So, and to that point, we should ask ourselves why was it's kind of like, I'm not trying to necessarily prove a negative, but the fact that it's so common for cops to drop the ball all the time, and then within 24 hours, Nashville PD puts out their clips and their stuff like that, and they look like they know what they're doing, and they got their body cams and all that stuff.
PR stunt, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of where I'm getting at with that. I'm not we'll look at the video, and I have some questions and stuff to mention about that, but
it did look like a SWAT raid. It was weird.
I think the Nashville PD had something to prove in light of the Uvalde fiasco. Okay, so I think that they had a vested interest of making something that looked pretty professional, right? That looked like they knew what they're doing. So that's where I'm trying to come across with this contrast. So that being said, let me take a look at my notes really quick and see what direction I want to go in. All right, so let's go look at the security footage. Okay, so can you see this right here with Chris and the media?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I want people to look at, okay, pay attention to the time stamp at the bottom here, okay, 9:53:57, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fit. They said it was a fit. I haven't looked at the license plate. 9:54.
And 10:13 is when.
So let's just look at this really quick. So from 1, 2, and then it just skips to 6. So it's 4 seconds, and then there's about 8 seconds before we see the car again, okay? So do you follow me on that? That from here, where the car comes in, drives by, it skips, you see the timestamp skip, and then there's about 8 seconds before we see the car again, okay? This is notable because I'm going to show you. So let's look at the street view of the actual freaking church. Where do I go to do street view? Let's see. Can I not do street view? There we go. All right. Okay. So do you recognize, you see the fit? The fit came through right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So right here is a freaking camera, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
And it just doesn't capture 4 seconds of footage.
So, yeah. So the car drives by this whole lane, okay? And we don't see, there's no street view, but the fit actually drives around the other side of the building. So we don't see what's happening right here, okay? They don't release the footage of this camera right here capturing the fit driving right here, okay? Could be nothing, but what I think is kind of notable about it, okay? So this is the entrance that the cops breached, okay? this is the entrance that the cops went in. So, I don't know why they decided that they needed to withhold 6 seconds of video when we can clearly see that there was a camera that was able to capture that footage. But that is the door that the cops went in. So that's what I think. It may be a little bit innocuous, but I think it's a little bit weird that they decided not to show us that footage, especially when you can so easily see on a street view that they have a camera for it. Let's see. Okay. But you can see it's driving around. Also, not a lot of cars in the parking lot, right? You'd think school day that there'd be administration. I mean, yeah, it's like younger kids, so there wouldn't necessarily be a lot of cars, but it's an empty parking lot.
What do you think the intention is behind this necessarily?
Take away our guns.
Okay.
I mean, like, I think the overarching thing about, so, I mean, you can look and you can see that shootings happen kind of frequently in the United States. They just choose which ones to kind of elevate and get into the mainstream media. They happen kind of frequently. So when we see ones that get media attention, it's important to see like why they're getting media attention. And, of course we knew, oh, Audrey was like trans. That's like one thing. And then it's like, oh, had all these guns, like shouldn't have all these guns. So I think, I mean, I'm kind of like of the cynical belief that the overarching thing with a lot of these things, with a lot of these shootings, is to leverage that media attention to get people to give up their guns. I feel pretty strongly about that.
You don't think like part of it is like the FBI like trying to like breed like terrorists to like try to like, I mean, they created cults in the 60s, like entire. They basically like created.
I mean, like I think there's some. So that's interesting because that's like one thing that I think about is like, did the FBI actually like, approach this person and tell them, like, get in their head and tell them to do evil things? Or did the FBI do what they do and like troll on social media and put up content and put up videos, whatever, produce content that like kind of radicalizes these people?
I'm sure they have agents to do both.
Yeah. I mean, like, to a degree, but I think more at this point, we're at this part in the way the FBI operates that we're more likely to see the kind of nuanced stuff where they're putting out content through social media when we don't know that they're FBI, right? And
there's also like an important like distinction too. Like I wanted to show like gun issues not only used to get elected, like it's also similar to the abortion issue where it gets cycled over and over and over again in order to have that dangling carrot on the stick, so that there's any reason to vote for them.
I mean, I agree with that too. But I mean, if you think about kind of how there's all the protests, there's mass inequality, you see what's going on in France, you see what's going on in Israel, you see what's going on in all these countries. Like, I'm more of the impression that like getting rid of our guns is kind of like the final piece to kind of having like some crazy authoritarian regime in our country more than it already is. So that's why I think that, like, I mean, maybe I'm just kind of in like a one-track mind with that stuff, just because I feel very strongly that taking away the Second Amendment is like the last piece to them kind of the state kind of getting their way and being able to control us with impunity. Because cops already have qualified immunity. They can shoot and kill us. But if they know that we don't have guns or that only criminals have guns, then like they're like, what's stopping them from like being more authoritarian or being more like violent?
I mean, you don't feel like, I mean, I was a recent like gun like on the gun issue. Like I was flipped like fairly recently. Probably like when
I used to be for reform until a couple years ago, and then I was like, the government's always going to have bigger guns.
Yeah, that was my issue too. But it's more of a like for me, it's like more of like when I see that there's like no politicians calling for like mental health care reform or any sort of like alternative solutions to this. It reminds me, it's like, oh, it is all just political. It is nothing. None of it is like actually like.
I mean, yeah, I do think it's political, but like I'm like a really cynical dude. If you guys who have been
Yeah,
watching us like by now, like
yeah, we both are, dude.
I'm like an incredibly cynical
So
dude.
people
So
come
like,
here.
so and again, like all I'm doing is like, if you guys can kind of see my method to my madness, I'm not trying to say one way or the other. I'm just saying that there's like, as I'll show some more stuff, there's just questions answered. Here the questions that come up. So here's another kind of good example, okay? And I'm going to pause this in a second so we can kind of go into the other thing. So you see at the timestamp at the bottom, it says 9:54, 9:54, 31, 32. Okay. So that's relevant. We'll get to that in a second. So 9:54, 38, 39, 40. Oh, now it's 10:10. Okay. So there's, what is that? That's 16 minutes that were omitted, right? 16 minutes. Just like that. Okay. So maybe then this is just to kind of like show you guys this is the breach. This is the
I could see them selectively editing like selectively releasing footage. Okay, that's crazy.
So that's it. Yeah, but remember, like I also said that they omitted those 8 seconds from that other side of the building, the same building that the cops end up breaching. I'm not, just I think that it's so here's the thing to kind of go on top of that is like when they came out with this footage a day later, the impression was that it was unredacted. That's kind of the impression everybody got, that it was like transparent, that they were giving us everything. And like, that's why I went through this stuff. I was like, wow, there's like a lot of time that's missing from these videos. And I'll show there's way more that's missing, but I want to come back to this video in a second here. But there's 16 minutes here, okay? It went from 9:54 to 10:11, okay? So wow, we got that going. So you see that at 9:54, the perp is allegedly in her car in the parking lot, right? So what I want to do now is I want to bring up an interview that of allegedly quote unquote middle school teammate was the one that got the basically the suicide mission text message from Audrey at like 9:57. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that. I'll look at that really quick. I think there's a word for how I think this person who's being interviewed is, if I don't think they're being genuine, but I don't know if that word is going to get me censored. But it's hard to see if this person's being authentic. So let me go. All right. So this I just saw, like, I didn't even know that this person got interviewed. I was just on YouTube and saw that this was actually in like something I might be interested in. So this person on the right, she was allegedly a not high school, middle school teammate, basketball teammate. Okay. Audrey was 28, which means that they would have been out of communication for 13, 14 years, right?
Audrey was 28.
Audrey was 28 years old. Okay. So why is Audrey, who's 28, it kind of would make sense a little bit more if she was a high school student.
Yeah.
But she was 28 years old. Why is she reaching out to somebody she didn't even go to school with? She just played basketball with from what, 6th grade, 8th grade? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to play this. Do I want to play this entirety? I'll start it. There's a couple things I want to focus on.
So they played together how many years ago?
Middle school. So let's just play it. I'll let you guys kind of hear it.
Jesus.
And yeah, okay. So you're kind of with me on this. That's a little bit weird that she's randomly reaching out to a middle school teammate. Not even classmate. She said teammate, basketball teammate. So let's play this a little bit because there's a couple things that I think are a little bit weird.
There's no volume.
There's no volume?
Yeah, you got it.
Oh, how do I do that? Do I have to stop sharing it and then share it with volume?
Yeah, I think so. Does it not share with volume?
Well, let me try it again. Let's see. Oh, share system audio. There we go. All right. Okay. So this is the person who's allegedly, if you know another name when you think that they're not, being authentic. You know, I just don't know if you can say that word on YouTube.
What does it start with?
Crisis.
Oh, okay.
I think this person is okay. I'll just say it. I think this person's a crisis actor. Like, so that's kind of my take on this. And I think there's more evidence of that kind of going forward. But let's play this from the beginning. There's a couple key things I want us to focus on.
Joining us now for more on this tragedy,
Can you hear
I
it now?
want to introduce you to Avriana Patton, who's a former middle school teammate of the Nashville shooter. Avriana, first off.
Middle school teammate. She was 28. Okay.
We are so sorry for everything that your community is going through. I know you're there in Nashville. Tell me, what was your reaction initially when you heard that a shooting had happened?
I was just...
Look at those eyes, huh? Those are the recall eyes.
Well, when I heard about a shooting, I didn't even correlate the two. I just know that morning I had received that type of message, and I tried to respond, you know, encouraging words. But then I was just like, I screenshotted it to my dad, and I was like, Dad, should I say something? And if so, what do I do? You know, how do I respond to something like this? And he was like, you know, call the suicide prevention, and then we went from there. Well, I went from there.
Right, and so tell me from the beginning here. I mean, you received a message through social media from the shooter saying what?
She said that, would you like for me to read it verbatim?
Sure.
Okay.
There's screenshots of it, but yeah, exactly.
So basically, that post I made on here about you, that was basically a suicide note. I'm planning to die today. This is not a joke. You'll probably hear about me on the news after
I remember reading this.
This is the last goodbye. I love you. See you again in another life, Audrey.
Okay, so before I keep playing the clip, I just want to let you know what I think is coming up is just listen to the way that the anchor is framing the questions and leading the questions. It comes across to me as very contrived. So I'll let you guys listen to her kind of barrage of questions and let you decide for yourself. But it sounds like she's feeding her an alibi.
And then there's more to it.
I mean, that's horrifying. And that message came to you at 9:57 in the morning.
9:57, okay? 9:57. Do you remember what I said with the other video?
So right before.
So where's that? I guess I can close this one now. So 9:57, when she was she would have been over here in the parking lot, right? Right? 9:57. That was like part of the time that was missing from 9:54 to 10:10. There was 9:57 was when she was when she sent that text message to this alleged middle school teammate / crisis actor.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just owning it now.
No. We're not gonna get banned for it, but let's not overuse it. We'll try to.
But do you see how her framing of the questions? I'll just play it again. But like you can see how she's kind of feeding her.
I'm with you now.
And that's horrifying. And that message came to you at 9:57 in the morning. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you told your dad just a few minutes later.
I screenshotted it to him.
And then you called the suicide prevention hotline.
Yes.
See, she's like feeding her
so
the
you're
narrative.
taking all these actions, and you were taking them quite quickly. Did you feel like you were doing it fast enough at the time?
What's that?
So she knows it, right?
The anchor absolutely knows. The anchor absolutely knows the series of events. What's interesting is that the police report that I showed you didn't say anything about that stuff. She hey, you can give the anchor the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she's just trying to get nailed down exactly that stuff, but you don't really ask leading questions unless you want certain answers to come from them, you know?
Yeah.
And then she's looking away again.
Yeah, I was just doing what I was told on the phone.
Right. And so what did the suicide prevention hotline tell you?
They asked me, was I the person that needed the assistance? And if not, they would need the person that needed the process or assistance to be on the phone. And then they suggested me to call the sheriff's department.
So they pointed you to the sheriff's department, which you also called them, right?
This
Around
is important
10:14.
Let me just confirm that for you. Just gonna confirm at sheriff's office at 10:13 a.m.
Okay, 10:13. Remember what I said earlier?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? The first call one about shots being fired in the building came in at 10:13 a.m. So if you're connecting the dots, it's very possible that this alibi was that call, right? I mean, it could have been somebody else. Okay. But the other thing, just keep playing it.
At 10:13. This is also the same time that police are responding to calls of shots fired at 10:13. Do you feel like the system fell apart here?
You know, I'm not here to point any fingers. All I know is here to tell my process, my story. This is what happened.
Right. Mm-hmm. You acted quickly.
I just need solutions. You know, you know, when you receive a message like that, you know, how do you respond to something like that?
Well, it sounds to me like you did the right things. You went through the process. You took action immediately. You made the calls. You were concerned.
More leading
questions.
Didn't
brush it off, right? So now that we're 24 hours out, we know what happened. Again, you took all the steps.
We don't know what happened.
How are you feeling in the face of this tragic outcome? And what are you seeing in the community right now?
It's devastating, you know, like, it's mind blowing. Like, I'm just still trying to process it into my city. Like, I'm here with you. I'm walking this with you, you know. It's just devastating. It's truly devastating, like, unbelievable.
Why did the shooter reach out to you? I know that you played basketball together when you were younger.
Why?
You weren't that close as adults, right? So why were you reached out to?
I don't know.
You know,
trying to figure that out.
I'm still trying to figure that out. You know, I'm asking God the same thing.
Like, come on.
Like, I just still don't. I don't know.
It's hard at a time like this, right? When we have so many more questions than we have answers.
Yeah, because it's just like.
Anyway, you get the picture. So, hey, maybe she's being honest. She does not seem honest to me. But okay, so now you kind of got the series of events. The reason I went from the video, because I wanted to illustrate, you could see that based on this footage, the Fiat would have been, or the whatever car that Honda Fit would have been over there when she made the suicide note. And then we skip here. Keep playing it. So 10:10, okay. Doors get breached right before 10:11, okay. First call is at 10:13, right? Little weird. So people in the hallway ostensibly heard
shots fired at 10:18.
Huh?
Didn't they say shots fired?
Said first call. Shots being fired in the building came in. The first call to 911 about shots being fired. Right? Okay. But I mean, this wasn't even something that was like a big point. But stuff started getting shot up at 2 minutes before. So just picture for a second. If you're an administrator in a school building and you hear gunshot at the door, yeah, you might be shocked, but like, do you see yourself taking 2 minutes to call 911 after you hear a door get shot out? I don't know. Like, I can't imagine being in that position, so it's difficult to answer. But there's a full 2 minutes before the first call to 911 is allegedly happening.
Real quick, turn off your system. There's a little bit like an echo.
All right, hold on a second.
Yeah, just like reshare it.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, and again, there's no way of like making light of this situation. It's just more of like a narrative shifting kind of thing.
I'm not trying to like make light of it at all. I think these are
Yeah, no,
like
I mean exactly. I mean, there's like always like
okay. Can you
there's
share
always a
masterminds?
purpose behind a good strategy.
Share
Being a good
masterminds.
strategy.
Share masterminds. Comment really quick. The uh the thing about her eyes, I'm glad you mentioned that, mastermind, because I feel the same way. You can see that people look a certain way when they're trying to recall either like a story that they made up or they're trying to make it up on the spot. They don't look at the camera. They look away. So I think you came to the same conclusion as me, mastermind. I'm glad that somebody else saw that. Appreciate that. So anyway, back to this. I know I'm kind of going back and forth, but there's just like I kind of want you guys to see where my train of thought come in, especially if I'm kind of making these allegations or making these kind of suggestions. I want people to see exactly how I came to these conclusions. But 10-11, doors get shot out. There's a full 2 minutes before the cops get the first call, right? 2 minutes. So this is also weird. You're going to see more time that's going to be omitted in a second here. So between the time that the doors are shot, okay, so there you go, 10:13. Did you see that? So let me see, go back here. Goes from 10:11 to 10:13. So there's another 2 minutes missing. Okay? So the whole thing where the perpetrator would have been going through the bottom floor is completely omitted. Okay? We don't see any of that. Now, you could have the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, there's no cameras. Maybe there's no cameras. I would call bullshit on that. Huh?
You think there would be a camera there?
100% there would be cameras. Absolutely. Of course there would be cameras. It's a school. It's a church. Like, they definitely got cameras everywhere, especially on the ground floor. And you can actually see in the body cam videos of where the cops go in the same place. That's omitted from here. But you can see it skips from 10:11 to 10:13. Okay. So cops got the first call, allegedly. And now we see the perpetrator kind of walking around this other place. And then it skips from 10:13 to 10:18. So there was another 5 minutes that the perpetrator was in this area or somewhere else that's just completely omitted. And they kind of make this video look like she was in the same place the whole time, right? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So it goes from 10:13 to 10:18. What the hell? Right? That's why.
Just like walking around.
But why? Okay. Church office. We know that one of the people who was killed was allegedly the dean. So ostensibly that could possibly be where the dean was assassinated or killed. We don't know. We haven't seen any footage of anybody getting shot. So let's also bear in mind 10:13. So the cops got the call at 10:13. So it's now been 6 minutes since the cops got the first call. So ostensibly they would have been on their way. Let's see if there's much. I think this is pretty much 10:19. Okay. So you see this hallway here? Do you recognize the tile? It's the same freaking tile as this place. So they omitted, I guess I didn't even notice that before. But this could be the hallway that was omitted for 2 minutes, right?
Right.
So that's a little weird. Now, nobody at the desks. It's now been 7 minutes. So they could be hiding or whatnot. I don't know. But there's nobody in the building that we can see except for the perpetrator. Just kind of like getting free range of the place. But the key takeaways there, I just wanted you guys to see how they clearly left out, I don't know, more like 20, 25 minutes of footage. And I think that's a big deal. if this is a 2-minute clip and they leave out 25 minutes of footage, that's not really transparent, is it? So let's see, what's the next thing I can focus on? Okay, so now let's pivot.
Wait, unshare.
What's up?
Unshare. Do the unshare it and then put it back up. Without the audio.
Is it screwing up again?
Yeah. Just make sure you uncheck it.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I want to share the body cam. Yeah, I want to share the body cam footage. Okay. So that's it. The key takeaways I wanted you guys to see the external cameras. I wanted you guys to get the time frame of when the alleged middle school teammate got the suicide mission stuff when she was in the parking lot that you don't see when the car goes by where the police ended up breaching. I think that's relevant, especially if it's a training. Then the cops may have already been there, right? If it's a training exercise and we're being psyoped right now. Too. What's the relevance with that?
Because they're like a big city, and so like I would assume that they're more relatively funded as opposed to like other cities in Kentucky. So
yeah, I just if we're being psyoped and the cops were already there conducting a training exercise, it would make sense that they don't show the footage of where the cops are chilling while freaking Audrey's car is driving by. You know, that's kind of the tinfoil hat thing I'm like kind of like playing with a little bit, but like it's just weird that in a 2-minute clip where they're like, oh, we gave you guys all this footage, there's 25 minutes of footage that's missing. Okay. So let's go look at the actual body cam footage now. All right. I think you can still hear all right. Okay. So when I play this, a couple things I want you guys to pay attention to is, and you can still hear me all right, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So stuff I want you guys paying attention to, I'll mention it as it comes up. Pay attention to what the officers are wearing. It's clear that none of them are in uniforms. Maybe one of them. Okay. None of them are in uniforms. They're all wearing whatever they want. Jeans, T-shirts, backwards hats. Only one person's wearing a helmet. The other thing is one of the officers, when he's breaching the area, he doesn't sound like he has very much sense of urgency. It literally sounds like he's running a drill. So let's get this going. Okay, so you see where I showed you on the Google Maps.
I'm making entry on the front side.
Makes sense now? Makes sense now? You see? So that's where the cops were. The cops came right here.
Basically right in front.
Yeah. Okay, so that lady said all kids are locked down. 2 kids, they don't know where they are.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I think she says one more thing.
Yeah. Into my window, they're upstairs.
Okay, so she said they was already upstairs. So this window right here is where they say that that's where the perpetrator gets shot, and they say that they saw her shooting at other cops that were incoming. Okay, and this would have been right around 10:20.
Hey, give me 3. Let's get 3.
All the way down this hall. Listen, it's Fellowship Hall. The end of this hall is Fellowship Hall. They just said they heard gunshots down there, and then upstairs are a bunch of kids.
Let's go. I need 3. One more. Let's go. Metro Police.
Jeans.
Bathroom, small bathroom. Clear. Next, let's go.
This guy right here, I think, is the only guy, maybe one other guy, who's actually wearing a uniform.
Door, with me.
No sense of urgency.
Next. Open it, I got it.
Bathroom.
Let's go. Just move right. Cover. Cover left. Cover.
Okay, I'm just going to pause it really quick. This is the area where ostensibly I believe that the perpetrator, that 2 minutes that was missing when she first breached the doors and shot open those doors, this is the bottom floor. So I haven't picked it close, but you could assume that there would be cameras in here, right?
Cover left. Take this with me. Take this. No, that's locked. Take this door. Take this door. Take it.
See? Door, take the door.
I think it's upstairs. It sounds like it's upstairs.
Well, they were actually told outside that it was upstairs, so they knew the whole time it was upstairs.
Go.
Backwards hat, t-shirt, jeans. Jeans, t-shirt.
Push an LPV up. Reloading. Move. Watch out. Stop moving. Get your hand away from the gun. Watch left. Get your hand away from the gun. Secondaries provide security.
Oh, it's a different window. I was wrong. It's a different window.
Hey, hold the air.
Okay, that's interesting.
Go. Take it to the second floor.
Okay, really quick, in contrast, the reason I keep making a reference to the uniforms is because you can obviously see in Uvalde, every single one of them is wearing a uniform. Okay? I think that's relevant. I think that says something. So if this happened at 10:13, they got the first call, you can guess that cops would have already been at work. They would have been wearing, what was it, casual dress day? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm just saying, that's freaking
They're in
weird.
the office.
Just, yeah, maybe, but it's just, what, they couldn't find 4 guys to wear a uniform in the entire department?
Locked door.
I'm wearing my headphones. Why? Is it just not working very well?
The echo's still there. What's going on?
I don't know. I'm not on my main computer. I'm on my laptop, but
yeah. Just play. We'll just deal with it.
Where did they go in? First floor. Hold there, y'all. Somebody hold there. Hit that door.
Come on. You got this guy in khakis, in a t-shirt. This guy's in jeans and or that guy might be in a uniform, but come on.
Rifle first. Blue, go.
Jeans, t-shirt.
Go. Move. I'm with you. Go left. Straight. Right here. It's locked. Go. Hit that stair.
Hit the stairs. Go. Go stairs. Go stairs. Go. 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 I got it. Go. One down. Keep pushing. Go.
And this is like a second
Shots
squad.
fired. Shots fired. Shots fired. Move.
Yeah, there were two body cams that we see. The officer Rex or something, and this guy. This guy's the guy that quote unquote does the pistol shots in the second year.
Right. Push with LPVO. Push with LPVO. Go right. Move! Watch out, Move! Stop moving! Stop moving! Watch left! Suspect down!
All right. No blood, no gore. So
Okay.
the takeaways with the body cams that I think are a little bit sus. No blood, no gore. Half of the cops are in casual dress. No sense of urgency from the first guy on the body cams. Take that as you will. I do think it's a little bit sus that why is the perpetrator in just an open area like that? It says that she was shooting at cops, but why? I would have thought that, I don't know. It's just that's just me kind of just thinking out loud. I just think it's a little bit weird that they basically found this easy shot to take her down. So let's see. But that's kind of the takeaway with that stuff. Let me see if there's any other stuff. Okay. Did that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So last thing I want to show you guys to kind of wrap this up is how the establishment is about never letting a good freaking tragedy go to waste, right? So
Yeah.
something
Yep.
within freaking 30 minutes of this shit happening, a goddamn Highland shooting survivor, okay, does a little soapbox speech. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Let me share this. Sorry, this is the last video I'll share, and then I'll be done with this crap. Okay. Now, this person was at Highland shooting last year, okay? Just happens to be in Nashville.
This person.
Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park, Illinois. My son and I survived a mass shooting over the summer. I am in Tennessee on a family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in DC since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them? Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. It has overtaken cars. Assault weapons are contributing to the border crisis and fentanyl. We are arming cartels with our guns and our loose gun laws, and these shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation. I'm pretty sure this was an unsecured weapon.
Audrey was 28 years old. There's no unsecured weapon for a 28-year-old.
That this teenager got a hold of. We can't even pass gun safety, safe storage laws in this country to protect kids from getting a hold of weapons that they shoot each other with. Aren't you guys tired of this? Are you guys sick of it?
Yeah, so we're good there. All right, so that's kind of my wrap up with that stuff. I know it's
You might as well just be on CNN. You might as well just
it's just
just throw her just throw her on
I know it's taboo to say that that person I know, right? But it's weird. It's weird that she makes a point being fentanyl, and then
the cartels and the
cartels
it
and then she's
sounds
it's an
CNN
unsecured gun, it was a teenager, just obviously throwing out these talking points, and then Obama's the one that posts it. Really, within 30 minutes of the shooting happening? Oh, I was just here with my Yeah, I was just here. Yeah.
How soon
Yeah.
did
Blue
Obama
Anon.
quote
They're called
tweet it?
crisis actors. People don't like us to use those words, but that's like, I think,
How soon did Obama quote tweet it after that was made public?
well, let's see. If the shooting happened at 10:13, this says, I mean, it says that it was posted at 6:46. It was my understanding that this video came out shortly thereafter. I don't know the exact time, so I could be wrong in that. I don't want to misquote. But at the end of the day, like, she was there at the scene of the goddamn shooting, and she was a survivor at another shooting a year ago. What? That doesn't compute to me. That doesn't
What a
make sense to me.
coincidence!
Yeah, what
Isn't
a
that
weird
crazy?
coincidence. That just happens.
Wow. Hey, isn't that crazy?
So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, obviously I have my opinions on this. I kind of like, maybe I shouldn't be calling these people crisis actors, but like, they sound like they're
Yeah, no.
bullshitting us to sell us a freaking story.
I'm still trying to reserve the balls to go all out on this and try
It's
to.
just, and like, the thing is, like, I
It's like
think
I'm almost with you. Like trust me. Like I get it. Like I'm convinced too that there's some sketchy shit going on. I'm just like.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even the most, even the most,
Isn't
even
it
the
weird
most.
that we can't talk about this like anymore? Like,
Well, I
because
mean,
of
Alex
Sandy Hook.
Jones, because of Alex
Alex
Jones.
Jones just ruined it. Like now all of a sudden, like everything's real.
I mean,
automatically.
sometimes it's just about being right at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know enough. I haven't gone down the Sandy Hook rabbit hole to know, to get on Alex Jones's like wavelength to see where it's coming from with that. But I can see, like, we've seen stuff with crisis actors before, and like, I'm sorry, like the Highland survivor that was in that Obama video, regardless of whether she was an actual survivor at the Highland shooting, she is doing the role of a crisis actor at that little, like, at that little video, that little interview, that little stump speech. She's doing the role of a crisis actor. Okay.
No,
Like,
she had it all lined up with the
yes.
cartels, the fentanyl, running up with the with.
So that's why
market.
that's why I like to wrap up that section with that. And I'm gonna keep digging in this if it doesn't just kind of get shuffled away.
This is unfolding, and you know what? So is the Doug Mackey case.
Yeah.
So both of those things are kind of just like ongoing as we go, and I guess that's the purpose of having a weekly show, right? To keep up on it.
Exactly. But I just think it's I just think that the takeaway, the thing that I want to impart on our viewers is that, like, just because they say they gave us all the information, it's really, the onus is on us to like double check that. Like, you saw like 25 minutes of footage were missing from the freaking security camera footage. The cops were all wearing some of them were wearing uniforms, some of them were wearing freaking, casual dress, some of them had backwards hats on. I don't know. I mean, like, even if it actually happens, Screw, if this is legitimate, I think it's a little weird that the footage that we got doesn't, like, I mean, I asked on Twitter yesterday, is there any actual evidence of anybody getting shot? Is there any evidence of anybody getting shot other than the perp, which we don't see any blood, we don't see any gore? Like, there was another guy on Twitter, I thought it was kind of dubious, but he was arguing that it were just airsoft and they weren't actually shooting anything, which I thought.
And I'm also like not there. I don't think there's anyone like necessarily saying that this was like staged in any sense. I'm like more open to the case that this was crafted or like picked to like craft a narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to me just kind of being like, they want to take away our guns, sort of thing. I mean, it's also, the part that Audrey is trans, and that, like, I have seen that there were like a number of shooters that were apparently identified as trans in the past. So I think that divisive angle is relevant, but it's not something I think is like worth it to focus on as far as
No, the
like
culture. No, the culture part of it is definitely part of it. I would
Mhm.
definitely say that's definitely because guns are almost like kind of sort of like fermented into that. Whether or not that's like a left right issue, whether you consider that one or not, but either one, like you know, there's a reason I compared it to the abortion issue. And screw it, like I just want to mention it, like we so in terms of crisis actors, like well, so they they do hire people like Ray Epps, like straight up feds, and you see a lot of these like right like
great
supposed like
example.
Nazi like right wing like rallies that kind of get put together. I don't think it's like I don't think it's like a fair assumption to just like automatically assume like and no one is like really questioning the deaths or like the suffering or the pain of the family going of pain of any of these families that are going through right now. In fact, there's a lot of empathy for them because
I mean, I think
whatever
there
the U.S.
was
government did to in terms of like the crafting this.
I think there was like one little girl who allegedly had a funeral today, like one of the victims, they said. So like, hey, if that stuff's like really happening, then yeah, I stand corrected. But like, there's no evidence of anybody getting shot. It's none.
We'll see. We'll see it. We'll see it coming out. But listen.
I just,
Like,
yeah, I just
for
think
a
it's
day
I
out, you're a
just
little bit more ballsy than me. But
hell with it.
I-
I like it. Just drives me crazy that kind of what I was saying before. I just think we need to be aware that what they're not showing us is just as important as what they are showing us. So we get 2 minutes of footage and we get 25 minutes of omitted footage. What happened during that time? I just think like it's important to read between the lines and like, yeah, I'm like reading into this stuff. Like I used to be that guy that I'd see that stuff on the TV and I'd be like, this is terrible. We need to like sympathize with these people. And then it just happens all the time. And then there's kind of like these archetypes, whether it's like a trans shooter or this person had 4 or 5 AR-15s with 1,000 rounds. Like there's just kind of like archetypes that you see all the time. So after a while, you're like, why are we seeing these same similarities all the time? What's going on? So like this one got some weird coverage. You got the thing with the Highland survivor, which is like suspect as hell to me. I saw that random video of the middle school teammate. That doesn't make any sense to me. So like, I'm not trying to be edgy. I just think that there's like a lot that we're missing from this story. And I hope that there's more that comes out before either everybody moves on to another shooting or like it just gets buried and forgotten about.
Yeah, that's why I'm like curious, like because we're in a country that is like we're the epitome of like school shootings. Like we pretty much invented the idea of school shootings.
That's awful.
So like no, I mean that's true.
What a
Like
punch
that's not a
Yeah.
false statement. And 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 it's strange because like they occur more often than like the media portrays them. Like why is it that like
Oh,
certain shootings become more politicized and more public than others?
okay, and I think that's a good question because I think that actually touches upon the whole thing why like the why is it the ones that we see on TV it's been like a trans shooter. And really quick, I just wanted,
Right.
I guess, let me share this
And
screen
that
really
would be a good way to make it political because that's how you get the right wing to
Exactly.
start being concerned about guns.
So really quick, I saw this on TLAV, and so I just like thought it was interesting, so I wanted to incorporate a little bit. Wasn't going to, but I think it's just important to note that there's a huge wave of hoax emergency calls alleging that non-existent school shootings are taking place, often eliciting lockdowns, evacuations, SWAT team visits, and mass panic throughout many localities. We're talking about dozens and dozens and dozens of fake shooting hoaxes. Rhode Island State Police said at least 14 municipalities received unfounded swatting calls Monday from the same caller stating people had thread here. There's this interest, kind of like what you were saying, man. Like, people we focus with there's shootings happen all the time, and these hoaxes apparently happen all the time too. But it's notable. It's worth paying attention to why they focus, why the media highlights certain ones. And like you said, I think like the identity politics thing is obviously very important. They love talking about ARs, so if they can put those two together, they got something viral that's going to get people all edgy. But yeah, I thought this was crazy. 14 cities and towns received calls reporting an active shooter, all of which were found to be fake. So very bizarre. I don't know if it's connected. It's just very bizarre that there's all these, like, apparently there's fake shooting calls happening all the time.
Oh my God.
Like all the time. Like I remember being in school and people would call in freaking like threats once in a while and we'd have like the day off. But like apparently this shit happens every day, all the time.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and it's definitely cherry picked to a sense. I mean, perhaps it's
100%.
like the size of the school, but I mean, even like things like Uvalde are like very, very highly politicized. But
Yeah.
yeah. So you want to have some fun? Jump into this AOC thing?
Yeah, let's do it. But
All right.
guys, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. I just think that it's worth it asking questions about these things. You don't have to be like
Full disclosure. There's no doubting of any sort of suffering that had occurred here. This is just pure speculation on what
God.
we were
You're
presented.
afraid this video is going to get taken down.
No. It's okay. It's that, but it's also like it's important. It's important to ask questions.
Well, it's like we're in a time in society where if you ask the wrong questions, you'll be labeled like a terrible person.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, we have to dance this line where we're not allowed to ask certain questions, or you're going to be labeled a freaking transphobe, or you're going to be labeled a bigot, or you're going to be labeled a racist, or like something crazy. And I think it's just important to look beyond that. Don't be afraid if you see something sketchy. And like I said, like I used to be that guy until a couple years ago where I was like, yeah, we need to take guns away so kids stop getting shot in school. Like I used to be that guy for sure. This is actually the first time where I've kind of like looked into it just because I saw the Highland. The thing that made me look closer into it was seeing that Highland survivor on camera, like after the Nashville shooting. That makes no sense to me. So,
yeah.
But
all right,
but we can pivot to AOC because this is pretty funny.
We'll just jump right into it, and there's because it's like I saw this like right when it was starting, and it just blew up because everyone started talking about it out of nowhere, and there's doubts. I mean, like, listen, like I'm not even saying this is like 100% real either. Like I'm not like trying to like make any like assumption. I don't think anything on this stream was like really like completely like assumption, but this is pretty fucking damning.
I mean, I'm pretty certain that
that's me too, because like you wouldn't go ahead and delete your entire account.
Not just that, but she deleted like 3,000 posts or something before she deleted the account. Like she was like scrubbing the crap out of that account. But for people who don't know, you want to kind of clue them in?
Yeah, so I mean, there's people who push back. So for the purpose of this segment, Joe, good friend Nico House responded to AOC and her like little shindig with fucking culture war bullshit with libs of TikTok. And got a response from this very this very strange account called Zaza Smoka. And let me pull up the other.
Yeah. Ostensibly, AOC smokes weed.
Well, actually, so like they're apparently it's like Brazilian or something. I'll show you in a second.
Zaza? I thought that was just like a name for weed.
Oh, now I gotta go back. No, Zaza. So fuck, I lost like all my notes.
Pizza. Yeah. Pizza smoker.
Pizza.
Godfather 3 reference. Man, 3.
Yeah. We'll just start off with the Nico House video. So he just has like a full on TikTok on this.
So here I am, minding my own business, going around Twitter, calling out politicians, blatant hypocrisy like I normally do. And I come across a video from AOC. So in this particular video, AOC meets the creator of Libs of TikTok for the second time, but this time she acted super outraged. She said, "You're actually transphobic, and I don't want to share any space with you." And she was like super brave all of a sudden, right? So I just reminded her that she isn't actually all that brave, and she's actually not all that much of an ally, and she's not as averse to bigots as she pretends to be at times, right? So as you can see right here, I said, but you vote to send money to Nazis and to fund the Israeli apartheid. But at least you stood up to a TikTok star. And this account randomly responds to me saying, LOL, and what makes you think?
Yeah, by the way, that's like a completely true statement. She supports Iron Dome. Like,
yeah, of course. Full
like
on
he's not just like being divisive. She actually does that shit.
Yeah, but Chris, it's more complicated than that. It's about the macros and the micros, right?
Seek help. Obviously, I thought that was a little bit peculiar because all of a sudden this random account speaking in first person when I'm directly responding to AOC, and like, why would I think a random account is sending money to Nazis, right? So I was like, maybe I'm just tripping. Then she responds again. It says, and hiding behind being a TikTok star, like, I don't know, you get over yourself. I was confused, so they responded twice. So as I began to put the pieces together, I'm like, let me check if they deleted the tweets, because I think that I just figured out some shit. Y'all, she deleted the tweet. So it was in this moment that I realized we have just found one of AOC's burner accounts. And what makes it even worse is that immediately when she realized that I figured it out, she blocked me with the burner account. But once my tweet started getting too much traction, she deleted the account. Well, first she deleted thousands of tweets. Then she deleted the account altogether. Bruh.
Yeah,
But
that's why I think it's AOC. That's why I'm like almost positive it's AOC.
This is a bill, HR 7691, to vote to send money to Nazis in the Ukraine. Okay? And this is their queen voting to send money to Nazis. So that outrage she displayed when running into the founder of Libs of TikTok was just as fake as that burner account. She doesn't despise bigots, and she's not an ally to anybody but her fucking self, bro.
It's like, it's good words. Thank you, Nico, for that.
And you know what? Like,
it's
it's an important distinction. And you know what? Like, the only purpose of this segment was because Matt Binder got to go ahead and make 20 fucking videos on Jimmy Dore's burner account. And like, I can just show you like how many tweets came out of this. I just want to remind everyone of like how much they talked about Jimmy Dore's burner account. Back
it's also
here.
important. I think this little Twitter drama also highlights that we should be very aware that politicians use burner accounts all the time.
Yeah. Also, Elon, I hate the fucking Doge thing. Please stop with that.
Yeah, that like what why is that? What it's just making a.
He
nod
wants
to
to be a fucking edge meme lord. Like, dude,
It's
you're
so
a billionaire and you take money from the Pentagon. Like, fuck off.
It's so dumb.
You know, Matt by like everyone just went ahead and they decided to make videos on this that thought that they were like assuming, just because he said zing, that means he was sexually assaulting Katie Halper. They had a complete hoedown on this.
Yeah, lost their minds.
Yeah, and we could take a look at like what the archive of this account is here. I mean, we can see, what they kind of were saying here, and we even have
like that's cope to me. Now that you know, it's cope.
This is pure cope. Pure cope. Cry harder. That's like
that's AOC cope right there.
She's so mad. She's so mad. You're a hopeless sheep. Is that supposed to mean anything besides how forgettable and basic? She's a worthless cunt. Okay.
Nice.
And yeah, no, it was picking up traction because
just bizarre.
Matt Walsh got onto it.
Hey, so post Scruff's comment on it really. Well, you don't have to, but there's this guy who's kind of like for the last like 10 minutes or so thinks that we're just like saying stuff. Thing is, there is evidence that this was AOC's account. Like the evidence is that spoken first person. The evidence is that they went from like 3,000 posts to like 700 and then deleted the account. Okay. And then deleted the account. Blocked Nico. Like and if you actually read the tweets in AOC's voice, it sounds like AOC. Like it does.
No, and we have to be honest about that because I mean, and this is mostly a joke segment too. Like
it is a joke segment, but it's also important.
This is just a fucking troll. Who the fuck cares?
Like I mean, we also
if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it sounds like AOC. Is what I'm saying. Here's some more things.
I mean, it's like why act like you think that politicians don't use burner accounts? Like why would you take that position? Like it's obviously a burner account. I have no doubt.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like this is not like the first time like celebrities or anything have been caught with burner accounts. Like this is not like a super like this is like if anyone's familiar with the NBA, Kevin Durant got caught in some NBA drama with using and there's just like a whole thing like a couple of years ago.
When you got caught with the burner account. One thing I love about the burner account is everything that you said on the burner account, you just started to say on Kevin Durant's account.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it, as you know, most people voice. They don't like how you respond to some fans or how you respond to this, how you are always tweeting. What do you make of people's reaction to you responding to fans? And if you think something, you send it.
Yeah. I just think people are still upset that I went to the Warriors, and a lot of people who are Cavs fans who enjoy watching the Cavs beat y'all before, which is a lot of people. I didn't realize that until I got there. A lot of people enjoy seeing y'all lose in 2016. And a lot of those people were upset that we were so good. And they're still upset because you do the same shit on Twitter. Damian Lillard does the same shit on Twitter. CJ McCollum does the same shit on Twitter. We all do the same shit on Twitter.
They all do the same shit. So it's like not a fucking crazy idea for a politician to have a burner account. It's
and
really
the other thing is
crazy.
we can assume that she has more burner accounts.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it's like not like, and this is not like such like a terrible indictment on like AOC. Like, I think it's sort of
there's
funny.
plenty of other things to indict her for.
Yeah, the more like sinister thing here is that she's a politician that is defending her funding of Ukraine via an alternate identity,
Yeah,
which is
that's
where the
this is
problem lies. And this is
so
a
pathetic.
politician. This is not a fucking podcaster, okay? This is a politician we're talking about that represents an entire district. So
Yeah, we're supposed to be demanding transparency, and that's what we get.
exactly.
You know, it's
Um,
just like I just like okay, let's pretend if the benefit of the doubt, it's not like why would somebody who AOC go through the headache of deleting posts, deleting the account? Like, I know if my account, somebody thought my account was AOC, oh, that's gonna give me a bunch of followers. Like, okay, that's gonna give me a bunch of engagement. Great, let's ride that wave. But I think she deleted the account because people started going through it and seeing like her basically shitting on other people, and I think that's why I think that's why she got rid of it. And it happened quick. Within like 45 minutes, an hour, that account was gone.
yeah, and like I don't think if you were just some random account and you didn't really care, you wouldn't like just delete everything just based
That's
off of like you. I feel like you would just ignore it or just like
you would
log
ignore
out.
it or like kind of like embrace it and be like, yeah, haha, like
Yeah, like I don't like, and here's even some more like, and none of this is like even like decisive or like any like this is just you there's a doctrine in court where I forgot what it's called, but it's basically this happened in the Alex Murdaugh trial
mhm.
where they don't have any like physical evidence of murder, but they can place the timestamps and they can place all of the different situations coming together, like where he caught where they went through his phone and they found the video of his son like 3 minutes before the shooting.
So they just were able to put all the pieces together based on
Yeah,
that's
so
not
like they don't have
what
any like
exculpatory
so
or
like there's like so like technically like in the court of law, right? Like you can present evidence as an accusation if the situation puts puzzle pieces together that fits
right.
something happen. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Call it a fucking conspiracy all you want, but like I just want to remind you like how like the Surfs got to go to town with the Jimmy Dore burner account. They made like probably like 3 different tweets on it.
Just like
I think.
yeah, and like I would say it's much more newsworthy of AOC having a burner account than Dore having one.
and it's not like we're like it's not even like it was not already known, but it's like Jesus, how many burner accounts do you have, Jimmy? Like this is the speculation that they had. Like they thought that this was a Jimmy Dore burner account, and their evidence was Jimmy Dore is Jesus hashtag in the bio. That was their evidence. So I mean, I mean, Matt Binder did a whole like breakdown where it was like and eventually it did come out that like Jimmy Dore is like he was libtard 01, and so and that's not like really none of this is like damning on people. It's just funny. It's just like getting caught like with your
Yeah, it's
with your pants
obviously
down.
at the end of the day, it's harmless. It
Yeah,
doesn't
like
really change anything.
all it really is just getting caught, with in 4K.
It's just I think the reason I want to do this story other than for because it's funny is because I think people should be aware that politicians use fake accounts all the time. I think that's important. Like people need to get in the headspace of, not taking this stuff at face value.
And I'm blocked by the Vanguard, so you can't. So you can't see them. But like you can see, like they went around and they were like, "Oh, are you a Jimmy Ward?" And I know Mustard Tiger, so like it's not like like they went around and they were like, "Oh, what are you, a Jimmy Dore burner account?" And I just want to like, I really want to highlight the difference that happened here because the serfs went ahead. They made an entire thread going ahead and debunking this by saying, "Oh, it's just
yeah, just ridiculous, dude.
It's just pure speculation. You have nothing to prove."
Was it just him?
Anything.
Or yeah, it was a
okay. So then, like when you make an accusation, aren't you when you accuse someone of something? Aren't you then as the defender of the responsibility to present evidence to clear yourself,
right?
In order to you having an alibi of some sort. She could come out and tweet right now, "It's not me." She could do it right now. AOC hasn't tweeted in 3 days.
But see, are you serious?
She hasn't tweeted in 3 days. AOC has not tweeted since this happened. So you tell me, when is she going to come out and be like, oh no, yeah, that or she can admit it, or I don't know.
I mean,
but
again, it's like it doesn't really change anything. It's just it's just another thing we have to be aware of on Twitter all the time is that even the people who idolize, she's got a bunch of burn, so I think if for nothing else to point out that these people are shitty human beings on Twitter as well.
Well, I personally I think they're they have to be there is some sort of paid ops online for sure. I'm not going to accuse the serfs of that, but they're probably just useless idiots. Either way, did I show this already? This is just even.
No, I think you had it pulled up, but you didn't go into it.
Yeah. So Zaza is also a nickname for Alexandria.
Alexander.
Yeah, none of this is completely. People are saying this also means weed. So, exotic weed.
Yeah, that was my take. I thought I was like, oh, somebody's just smoking weed, like AOC smoking weed. Oh, clever.
I mean, and again, a lot of this is up to you. We're not making any definitive answers. We're just saying, it's mostly about the response of the public between these two distinctions. I really wanted to call attention to the fact that Matt Binder made 4.
So just a crazy hypocrisy with it, yeah.
And here's Ryan Grimjob coming into the rescue again. Of course.
Oh my God! I didn't see that he did
swinging with the Grimjob. He says, "So I just want to highlight the wording here. This guy replied to AOC in another account, and then another account replied to him. Guy made an absurd leap to say that the other account was actually an AOC burner, which makes no sense. But so far, Senator Marsha Blackburn, MTG, and Matt Walsh have all jumped on it. So why can't you refer to him as his username or his real name, anything like that? And I don't know. I just thought it was. I thought it was pretty degrading,
disrespectful for sure.
Yeah, no,
and Nico's isn't he on RT?
He quote tweets AOC and he drops all of these names, but then he calls Nico this guy. Fuck off, fucking Grimjobbed again. I want to find that video.
It doesn't get old. It's that's what he lives for, man.
Just over and over again.
And I know, I've seen Ryan Grimm in the interviews where he comes across as an intelligent person who knows what he's talking about. It's so frustrating.
You've done it again. You dirty bastard! You've done it again.
One more time for the folks at home.
He's done it again. He's done it again. That is a fact. You fucking little bastard. He does it all the time. He's done it again. You dirty bastard. You've done it again. Where is the card?
Grim Job, the classic Grim Job. Of course.
Like, why did he? Yeah, like why did he
saving
have to
all
jump in on
favorite
that?
politicians? Like AOC.
So, and that's the other thing is like, what's the term?
I don't know.
What's the term when people? It's like the Streisand effect. It's like these freaking apparatchiks are trying to make it sound like there's no big deal and there's nothing to see here. But then when you have all of them defending AOC, it looks like they're all in on trying to make a smokescreen. Now it's like,
and
half a dozen people. Why are you trying so hard if it's a fake account anyway? Like,
and why doesn't she say something? Why can't you just like if it's this public, if she's having her fellow members of Congress calling her out for it, why did she say something? Why did she just clear the air? I don't know. This is all ongoing.
Is there? So, I'm assuming that like politicians are allowed to lie on Twitter, right? Like she could say it's not mine, and there's no recourse to that, right? It's not like somebody could like do like freaking tracker IP, be like, yes, it was you, and like she get in trouble for it.
She lies on the Senate floor. There's no like difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, like what I don't know, like maybe I don't know. It's so silly. But I think it's weird how you get all these people jumping on, being like, oh no, it's definitely not AOC. Like that tells me, why are these guys trying so hard? If it wasn't AOC, just like let it like just die. Let it just die. But
or you can come out and say, I don't know.
I know, like why wouldn't AOC just lie?
Can someone explain like why wouldn't the account just be like, oh, what are you a fucking idiot? I'm not AOC, and then that's it.
Yeah, I know.
Why couldn't you just send one reply and then boop, done? You had to delete. Before they deleted the account, they deleted thousands of tweets in real time.
So yeah, it was literally like thousands of tweets like that.
So there was like a concurrent backpedaling going on here that like, you know, witnessing it in real time was an absolute.
Yeah, because what was like, I guess that's good if you kind of missed it, because it went from Nico calling it out, and I even like retweeted it right away. I quote tweeted him, and I even got like a little bit of engagement on it. But like, it went from like being exposed to backpedaling to deleting like thousands of tweets to like blocking people and then just like shutting the account within like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, no, it was just like you didn't have to do all of that, and it just seems so unnecessary for an account that's like not. If it's really not AOC, then why wouldn't you just say I'm not AOC
and just be done with it?
It's really that simple. It's really that simple.
I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me, but you know, like if she slipped up once, chances are she'll slip up again. Like it's so easy.
She's been slipping up back and forth all week long. Before I close the stream out here, I wanted to show that one Politico article that just happened to come out fresh off the press, literally like 24 hours ago. From agitator
yeah, I saw this. Yeah,
like, to insider, the evolution of AOC, and this really says it all right here. 4 years into her House career, she's embracing her new role, from disruptor to team player. And RBN pointed out a really good point here. Well, where it says in this article where she's like coaching like other progressives or, you know, quote unquote, like
co-opting
stock Dems.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically coaching them to. And notice what she says. There are people, including moderates, who sometimes try to draw this completely unfair, false equivalence between progressives and, frankly, the fascists that we see in the Republican Party. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that are calling to free Julian Assange.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the ones that are, and they're not like I'm sure that like as soon as they get into office, they're going to start beating the war drums for China. But you know what? Like, the liberals, they don't agree on that either. So like, fuck it. Like, what am I going to do? Like, they agree with me on this one issue. Like, it's not like it's like they're my favorite people in the world.
No, not at all. It's like broken clocks. But that's ridiculous. So what? This article is just saying that she's establishment now.
Essentially, I mean, this is her rebrand as like full on like establishment Dem. I mean, she calls the Biden administration occasionally, just sometimes weak. They're like
Bro.
when we got skimped of like $600 and all of our gas and egg and food money went up and the real estate exploded and then there was pipelines blowing up and trail lanes blowing up and a war, an ongoing proxy war, a second upcoming proxy war. What else do you want? I mean,
East
it's only a little
Palestine.
bit. It's only sometimes. You're only getting occasionally weak. And with Trump, the fascist. But
but
here you're getting it just a little, occasionally, a little weak.
It's crazy. I don't know how people
I don't
still
wanna
think of
say
her
too
as
much,
progressive.
but-
I don't know how still like she's just. It's whatever.
No,
It's-
she's no. I've always said like it's kind of like there's no reason to call them the squad anymore because they don't really vote as a block. There's no reason they don't vote as a squad. So why are they called a squad?
Yeah, exactly. And
Her
like
her
same
relationship
thing.
with the new batch of Democratic leaders is still evolving. She attributed at least a part to an influx of new liberal, younger, more diverse members who are more natural allies. So she's like coaching people to be
She's
like
co-opting them.
psyops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's doing the AOCIA thing.
She like this woman is like sheepdog number one of
Well, it's
the
like
Democratic Party.
like,
Like, she's like she's like the first person you see at the door actually when you like enter the Democratic Party. She's the one that takes your coat and says, "Hi, how you doing, sir? Welcome to the Democratic Party. How may I help you today?"
fucking hate
And
it.
she's the secretary. That's where she stands right now, basically.
You think?
But yeah,
Wait, you think she's eventually going to be speaker?
No, I think she's going to run for president.
Yeah, I mean,
She says it in this article too. She says,
I mean, we all know that eventually she'll run. Eventually, God, I would actually watch her getting slaughtered in a debate.
well, the Democratic Party doesn't have debates anymore, so
Yeah, that's right, because we live in a democracy.
they're not interested in thoughts or ideas or
no
any sort of debate or anything like that.
Conformity.
We're the party of democracy. So, among the lessons he's learned from her, a lot of younger liberals are saying that, they're learning to be a badass motherfucker.
Awful. Yeah, it's like
So she also helped strategize a GOP-led trip to DC jail with detainees being held in connection with the January 6th committee. Okay.
just a joke, man. It's just like she went from saying like, oh, it can be like a one-term candidate, one-term congresswoman, and like do more change in one term than somebody can do in a lifetime, blah blah blah. And now she's like, I'm enjoying the careerist thing.
Yeah, no, she's living the life. It must be it's pretty nice. I mean, let's remember, like she like started out as like working for what's his name?
Fucking Ted Kennedy.
Yeah, she started out working with Ted Kennedy.
she remember we did that video a couple weeks ago with like the Hillary Clinton class at the and it was the school for international relations and stuff like that. AOC went to a similar school. She went to the Boston version of it.
I'm convinced that she was like kind of like groomed as like, you know, from like intelligence, because like I forgot where it might have been like either like Whitney Webb, like one of those sources where it, it, it was like some kind of like Latina like Congress group or something like that. That was like basically like another like one of those CIA cutouts, like basically like we're on like different fronts. I mean, like, we saw this ever since the Congress of Cultural Freedom, which like I'm gonna make a video about one day, one of these days.
No, you're right. I remember there was like a photo of her. I forget what country it was, like Venezuela or something like that, and just being a complete fraud. But yeah, and this isn't even accurate. Didn't she own the restaurant? She wasn't a bartender. I think she was part of the owner of that bar.
I'm not 100% sure, but
oh, she actually made a quote about it. Yeah, she interned for Ted Kennedy. Let's see. Studied development economics in West Africa. It sounds like imperialism. Served as educational director and won international science competitions before I ran for office too. Ooh.
And here is if you want to know AOC's intentions, it's right here. There's a world where I'm here for a long time in this seat, in this position. There's a world where I'm not an elected official anymore. There's a world where I may be in higher office. She's sitting there with her head up in the air, daydreaming about, you know, President Cortez, you know, speaks, the first like woman president.
I mean, I remember
28.
I think the first female president is going to be trans. I'm just throwing that out there. I know it's funny, but like that's my take. Yeah. They're gonna take that away from women. But I remember being like, when I worked at Comcast fucking 10 years ago, I remember being duped and thinking that like, yeah, I would vote for AOC if she ran for president, not knowing.
Everyone was, yeah, no, I was 100%. You know, everyone was bought in. You know, when she was running, I did not think that I said this, and I'm going to say it again. Like, I did not think she was going to be this bad. She's decisively worse over like compared to like some of her comrades.
You can look at her legislative record, and it's one of the worst in Congress, if not.
Oh yeah, no, she's with Nancy Pelosi like 92% of the time. So she is basically Nancy Pelosi, just like a younger.
I mean, you remember the whole Mama Bear thing?
Yeah, no, of course. I think it's obvious, and I think anyone like defending this garbage is. I think you want to date AOC. All right. I think you're.
Don't idolize politicians.
Yeah.
thirst trap AOC. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and also I just want to say, like, I think AOC is like a 5, and that's like before she opens her mouth. So
yeah, I'm with you on that one actually. She's very mid.
Yeah. So to close that one out. I think it makes much more of a difference that AOC's trying to convince people that she's not funding Nazis over the. That's right, kid. Everyone who wants to date AOC wants to go see the White House counselor. Yeah. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. We got a good 2
thanks a lot,
hours.
Guys.
220, and a good long time on that Nashville segment tonight. I'm gonna have a fun editing that. But
that was
the alternative angle, 9:30s at Monday. Like, what were you gonna say?
No, it was just a lot of content, but I'm glad we got it all out there.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good format. You know, we're gonna be back every week here, Mondays at 9:30. Make sure to subscribe to the Indie News Network as well as Big Mac Crab here. It's down in the click my channel title and the link in the video title. But yeah, I hope you guys have.
Thank you all.
You have any,
Appreciate you guys tuning in.
You have any good? All right. Have a good. All right. Have a good night, guys.